My name is Claire Hill. My 10th grade American Cultures class teacher Mr. Newman would like me to describe the decade of the 1990s. I am interviewing my dad Dan Hill, who will be answering my questions. I do not remember much about the 1990s. For me, the major event of the 90s was my birth in 1995. What are some of the other major events of that decade?
It was the last full decade of both the 20th century and the second millennium. It might be called the information age because of the development of Internet's World Wide Web. In the United States, it was a fairly peaceful and quiet time in international affairs. Because the Cold War, which ended in 1991, was over, but the War on Terror in 2001 had not yet begun. William J. Clinton was president for much of the time. There were wars in the Gulf when Iraq invaded Kuwait, the Kosovo War, the war between Croatia and Slovenia, the Chechen Wars, terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center and the Federal Building in Oklahoma City.
War is not interesting to me. How about some information about natural disasters?
The most prominent natural disasters of the decade include Hurricane Andrew, the crippling superstorm on the eastern seaboard, the devastating Northridge earthquake in Los Angeles, the Great Hanshin earthquake in Kobe, Japan, the deadly Hurricane Mitch, and the destructive F5 Oklahoma City tornado, the earthquakes in Turkey and Taiwan. An earthquake hit the Philippines. An unprecedented heat wave struck the Midwestern United States. At least 739 people died in Chicago alone. The Gulf War oil spill caused considerable damage in the Persian Gulf.
What was the economy like?
Many countries were prosperous and experienced steady economic growth for much of the decade. Gasoline did not cost more than $1.50 a gallon during this decade.
What was technology like?
Electronics and communications changed a lot. Everyone got mobile phones. The Pentium processor was developed, email started, instant messaging and the buddy list began. AIM started. Businesses built e-commerce websites. Amazon, AOL, and Yahoo grew rapidly. Satellite dishes, MP3 players, and digital cameras became available. Apple sold the iMac computer, and CD burner drives were introduced. The DVD replaced the VCR. The 24-hour news cycle became popular with the Gulf War.
Did you see that car crash, Dad? What scientific discoveries and developments took place?
The first cloned mammal was Dolly the sheep. The Human Genome Project started and DNA evidence changed criminal law. The Hubble Space Telescope was launched and genetically engineered crops were developed. Dark matter, dark energy, brown dwarfs, and black holes were discovered. GPS came along.
What was the culture like?
The youth culture was interested in the environment and business. Fashion was not conservative. The grunge look was common. Tattoos and piercings became fashionable. And the World Health Organization stopped calling homosexuality a disease.
What movies won awards?
Dances with Wolves, Silence of the Lambs, Unforgiven, Schindler's List, Forrest Gump, Braveheart, The English Patient, Titanic, Shakespeare in Love, and American Beauty were the big hit movies.
What about music?
In music, Garth Brooks, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Mariah Carey, Spice Girls, Nine Inch Nails, Britney Spears, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Backstreet Boys were popular.
What was on TV in the 90s?
Cheers, 60 Minutes, Home Improvement, Seinfeld, ER. Touched by an Angel, Friends, Veronica's Closet, NFL Monday Night Football and Frasier were the top 10 TV shows.
What about American cultural data?
Population 281,421,906, unemployment 5.8 million, National debt almost $4 trillion. Average salary $13.37 an hour. Minimum wage $5.15 an hour. Life expectancy, male 73.1, female 79.1.
Well, thanks for all this interesting or boring information, Dad. I would have to say that my birth is still the most interesting fact to me.
You are welcome, Claire. I hope some of Mr. Newman's students are still awake. If you need more information about the 90s or anything else, just Google it. Or ask your mother.